Welcome, everyone, to the Newvision Oldways podcast, a greatly ambitious journey of discovery where we can all learn to live better, mentally healthier, and more fulfilling lives. If you're just discovering us, feel free to go back and take the journey from the beginning. And if you're already a Newvision Oldways fan, welcome back and enjoy season
5.
And now, here is your host, Tony Marinaccio.
You are listening to Newvision Oldways, the podcast that explores timeless wisdom for the modern mind in a fun, relaxed, and most important, interactive way with you, the listener. I am your host, Tony Marinaccio, and let's get the episode started. Welcome, Visioneers, to another great episode of the Newvision Oldways podcast. And of course, I am thrilled that you took the time out of your day to listen to the show. And I do apologize. There was a little bit of an extended time off for me that was a bit unexpected, but you know what? Life happens, and we talk about that all the time on this show. But as always, I will do my best to bring thought-provoking material to you and help us all see the world from a different perspective. And speaking of a different perspective, I hope you enjoyed the 3-part interview I had with Dr. Mary Teedy as we spoke extensively about all things gender. The response to the series was amazing. This is the first time that we have traveled down this particular path with Newvision Oldways. But I hope that episodes 43, 45, 46 open the door to further discussions on this topic and related topics as we have barely touched the surface. It was a great series that I know can be rather an emotional subject on both sides, but that's it, folks. There are different sides to this. And if we are ever going to find common ground here, we need to talk, not lash out, not accuse, not threaten, not humiliate, and especially violence. There needs to be no violence because it will not solve anything. In fact, it will make it all worse. Just like anything else in this world, violence or extreme violence will do nothing but take people away from their loved ones. It will solve nothing. We all can have a place at the table when there is kindness, love, and discussion. Otherwise, there's absolutely no room for you if you lack any of those qualities. My hope is that with showing that Newvision Oldways is not afraid of any subject, we can have that respectful discord and bring us all to a higher level of understanding and harmony. It can happen. We just need to get back in touch with who we really are. And that, folks, is what today's episode is all about. Finding out who we really are. Each and every one of us. Who are you? When no one is watching, when you actually take a moment to feel, to reflect, to understand the real you. And there's no better time to find out who you really are than right now with episode number 47, Escape the Groupthink and Return to Ourselves.
So when it feels like the world has gone mad, the truth is that there's a pattern. First, people lose the power process in their own lives. Then they fall into the possession of isms, communism, nationalism, feminism, socialism, environmentalism. They offer ready-made identities and moral clarity. Jung described them as crutches for the lame. And finally, they strike out with resentment disguised as justice. The cure is not found in another movement, but in the hardest task of all, reclaiming individuality in an age of collective madness.
That was Liam from Liam Out Loud. Check him out on Facebook. And what he said in that clip is exactly what I want to talk about today. There was a time, not so long ago, when we knew ourselves, not through the lens of a camera or the metrics of a social media platform, but through the quiet moments of solitude, through the questions we asked when no one else was around, and through dreams we dared to entertain before the world told us that we were impractical or being naive. We understood who we were by listening, not to a crowd, but to the still, small voice within us that spoke in feelings, in instincts, in flashes of insight that didn't need validation to be real. But now, in a world saturated and curated with identities and performative outrage, yes, much of it is performance, not righteous outrage, we've become reflections of the crowd, wearing borrowed beliefs like costumes, trading authenticity for acceptance or applause, and measuring our worth in likes, shares, and retweets. We scroll through lives that are not ours, mimic emotions we don't really feel a personal connection with, and again, perform identities we didn't choose for ourselves, but were thrust upon us, all while the soul, the true self, grows quieter. Not because it wants to wither away, but because it's being drowned out by the relentless noise of a culture that values conformity over consciousness. We used to ask, who am I? With genuine curiosity and a willingness to explore the unknown. Now we ask, what's trending? What is the next manufactured outrage I can attach myself to? As if the answer to our existence lies in the collective mood of the moment. In fact, many times we don't ask what the next moment of outrage will be. It's just forced upon us, and it demands conformity. And the fear, whether it is conscious or unconscious fear, is that there will be some form of punishment for not conforming to that outrage. Even when that outrage is a complete lie. Buildings get smashed, set on fire, cars get demolished, people get beaten, looting goes rampant, and the slurs of racism, fascist, Nazi get hurled around and chanted like rallying cries, all by people that are just looking for something to do. Many times getting paid in one way or another to do it. Because let's face it, even pasty, pimply, overweight white kids need to get out of the house once in a while and feel like their life has meaning when what they are actually doing has no meaning at all other than to try to make the unconformist feel guilty and shame for something they did not do. Kind of like California's constant fight for reparations for people that were, of course, never slaves in a state that never had slaves. And of course, after several failed attempts, California is now masking the situation by avoiding the term reparations in the 2025 bill in hopes that it will pass. The road to repair bill can be termed any way they want, but the people know what it is, and it's a feeble attempt at a money grab at the expense of citizens that are in no way responsible for the financial waste of a state government that would rather pay billions to keep the homeless and drugged out instead of finding ways to clean up the streets, clean up people's lives, and restore a sense of personal pride to neighborhoods that desperately need it. Brutal call out, I know, but that is the truth. We used to feel the weight of our own thoughts, wrestle with our own contradictions, and find meaning in the struggle to understand ourselves. Instead, now, we carry the weight of everyone else's expectations, and in doing so, we lose the most sacred thing we possess, the courage to be original, the courage to be unpopular, the courage to be real. We are not born to be algorithms, we were not designed to be clones, and we were certainly not meant to be zombie-like creatures in a world that rewards obedience over righteous originality. We were born, though, to be human, complex, curious, courageous. We were born to be able to think for ourselves and not beg a group to accept us by conforming to a groupthink that steals our soul and our individuality. Somewhere along the line, we forgot that our own souls matter. Our inner voice matters, and our lives matter, whether a group says so or not. Groupthink, in its most seductive form, often doesn't arrive with actual chains or threats. It arrives with what looks like comfort, with belonging, with the illusion of righteousness. It tells us what to care about, what to fear, what to say, and what not to say. It will reward us with approval when we comply and punishes us with isolation and guilt if we don't. It flattens complexity, erases nuance, and replaces thought with reaction, turning us into participants in a system that thrives on obedience. Remember the recent chants of tear the system down? Kind of funny now when you think about tearing down a system of free-thinking individuals and replace it with a system of trained monkeys in a cage, all thinking the same way. So what system should we be tearing down again? It's kind of obvious to me, but is it obvious to the trained monkeys? Slowly, we become part of the manufactured rage machinery, not because we wanted to be, but because, like any other drug, we became addicted. Addicted in order to fill that gaping hole in our soul that can never get enough rage out. Rage that was thought to give our lives meaning, while it was really tearing our lives apart, damaging a soul that wants to be healed. Our souls are tired of the groupthink. They are tired of fighting battles that are unwinnable, tired of standing alone in rooms filled with agreement, tired of seeing the cracks in the masks we are all wearing, cracks that show there is a person in there that many times hates themselves, and they have no idea why. The why could be the perceived loss of our souls, the loss of our inner voice, the loss of respect for one another, the loss for ourselves and the respect for a higher power. The soul, that quiet, persistent part of us, doesn't thrive in comfort, in obedience to a random group that has no interest in your well-being. It thrives in truth. And truth, by its very nature, requires courage to accept and acknowledge. It requires us to ask questions that no one else around is asking, to feel things that others have numbed, to choose silence over slogans, depth over drama, and integrity over image. It requires us to remember that we are not here to merely fit in. We are here to be ourselves, to believe in the truth, to believe in what is good, and that takes courage. Just for a moment, let's take a trip over to Europe. Why? To show what courage looks like over there. A trip that finds us at European abortion clinics. And don't worry, relax, this is not about abortion. It's about someone like Adam Smith Connor, a British Army veteran who was convicted for silently praying near an abortion clinic in Bournemouth. He stood still, spoke to no one, and caused no disruption, but was prosecuted under a buffer zone law and fined £9,000. Well, let's take Livia Tosicki-Bolt, who was charged for holding a sign that read, "Here to talk if you want," near another clinic. She was fined £20,000 despite offering only consensual conversation. These cases are part of a broader enforcement of safe access zones around abortion facilities, which restrict certain types of speech and protest, even silent prayer within designated areas. In Scotland, letters were sent to residents that live near clinics that visible or audible prayer from private homes could violate the law if deemed intentional or reckless. No matter what your stance on abortion is, praying silently or audibly in your own home should be done without fear. And the citizens have risen up and have started to make sure the powers that be are aware that this type of groupthink and control is unacceptable on any level. This led to UK Home Secretary Suella Braverman issuing a letter to police reminding them that silent prayer is not unlawful, urging law enforcement to remain impartial and avoid ideological bias to replace common sense. Gee, thanks, Suella. It's hard to believe that a letter needed to be issued to correct something that should have never happened to begin with. Despite the oh-so-generous letter from Suella issued, oddly enough, the citizens remain skeptical and fear that the new legislation may explicitly criminalize silent prayer, contradicting human rights protections and deepening the distrust in government motives. I wonder if those same protections are there for the Jewish population when crowds were marching and chanting anti-Israel slogans. Really? Why did I bring this up? Simple. It's the buying into the manipulative small group think that drives these ridiculous situations. And if we are not careful and more vocal about this type of behavior, it can happen here, anywhere. And I, for one, if I decide to, will pray anywhere, anytime I desire. And there is no person, group, government, or army that can stop me. And I really hope that you feel the same way. This is not about prayer per se. It's about bowing to a groupthink that is there to destroy our natural liberties, take away our freedoms, and dictate how we think and feel. Let's take a break, Visioneers. If you believe in the show and what Newvision Oldways is all about, there is a link in the show notes and on the newvisionoldways.com website that will allow you to donate what you can. This show takes time, research, and an expense to put these episodes together and to ultimately grow and service the Visioneer community. It does require money to make this work. So if you can donate any amount, it would be appreciated. Thank you so much. Now, back to the show. Psychology Today has defined groupthink like this. Groupthink is the phenomenon that occurs when a group of sometimes well-intentioned people make irrational or non-optimal decisions spurred on by the urge to conform and believe that dissent is impossible. Think about that. Really think about what I just said. In fact, replay it if needed. That definition makes it clear that in the groupthink concept, you are not an individual. You are a number, a tool for the organizer's end goal, if they even have one. Your soul is pushed so far down that you begin to act as though the only thing that matters is the perceived group acceptance. Just like gang members who believe that the gang is their family, but in reality, the gang member is a disposable piece of garbage to them when not needed anymore. None of us should be or feel like we are a piece of garbage if we think for ourselves and have strong individual values. To wake up from the trance of groupthink is not to rebel for rebellion's sake, but to reclaim that sacred act of thinking for oneself, to feel deeply, to live in alignment with our values that are not dictated by the crowd, but discovered through meaningful personal reflection. It means that choosing to be curious when others are content with false certainty, choosing to be themselves when others are acting in a play, choosing to be whole when others are severely fragmented. Waking up from groupthink is not easy. It can be lonely. It can be uncomfortable. It can feel slow and methodical. But every time you choose your own thought over the crowd's, every time you speak your truth instead of parroting others, every time you remember that your soul is more important than your brand, you come home. You come home to the part of you that was never really lost. It was just buried in the muck. You come home to the part of you that doesn't need permission to exist. Only your presence is needed. So, how do we return to ourselves in a world that constantly wants to pull us away from who we really are? We start small. We start quiet. Start with honesty and truth. We turn off the noise, not just the digital noise, but the internal noise of comparison, of fear, of self-doubt. We sit with discomfort, not trying to escape it, but trying to understand it. We can ask ourselves what we really believe in, what we value, what we fear, what we love, not what's trending, not what's popular in any way, but what is our truth. We use the strategies and concepts that I have laid out for you in many of the New Vision Oldways episodes and let them help you find the inner you. It's there. You know it's there. And trust me, it's a wonderful thing when you find it. It really is like coming home. And then we act on what we now found out about ourselves. We don't do it for group approval, but for our mind, our body, and our soul alignment. We speak our truth, live our values, feel our feelings, and in doing so, we remind the world what it means to be human. Because the soul doesn't need a platform, it needs a witness. And when you show up fully, fiercely, unapologetically, you become an actual influencer, a real influencer, one that matters because you are leading by example, not by what hot fashion is in this week. And most importantly, you become the invitation for others to do the same. What I hope is coming across here is that I am not asking you to rebel against the entire world. I am asking you to remember who you were before the world told you who to be. Remember the child in you that asked too many questions? Remember the artist who colored outside the lines, or the thinker that didn't settle for the easy answers? Remember the soul that still lives in you, quiet, patient, waiting there for you to call on it, and again be a part of your mind, body, and soul that makes up who you really are. If you cheered for Charlie Kirk's death, or if you know someone close to you that did, ask yourself, or that person, is that who you really are? Or were you so blindly governed by groupthink that you or that person just felt they were supposed to feel that way because of some misguided ideology and distorted truths about what he said or believed? My feeling is that it was the latter. Examples like that are endless. So there is no shortage of moments that challenge us to look at ourselves and not at the group for signals of how to feel. Ask the bust-in pasty white kids that threw bricks into black-owned stores if they really understood what they were doing. Ask the gang leaders if they really care about the low-rung street thugs that are a dime a dozen. Ask the politicians who do everything they can to push socialism on their constituents if they really care about how you feel about staying at the bottom. What they care about is you needing them, always needing them, and you beg for the slightest benefit they offer, but you are still right where they need you, at the bottom. Groupthink keeps you at the bottom. Following blindly keeps you voting for the same people that will do nothing but keep you as low as they can get you. Individual thinking can break that cycle. It can help you rise up and make your dreams come true. Be yourself. Think for yourself. Put the effort into your own life and your community. It's the only way the message will be sent. It's the only way we will make this world a better place for all of us. Fight the good fight, not the manufactured rage fight that doesn't care about who you are or what you believe in. We are on this earth because we all have something to offer. Find your inner self and give the world the benefit of what that gift is. Dissent from the groupthink is the only way to find the truth. Don't fear it. Don't stress about it. Just look in the mirror. Find that soul of yours that is ready to lead the way and start living the life that you desire. Fulfill the dreams that you have. Let the world know you got this. They don't got you. Visioneers, this is the part where we really, truly come home. Not to the world's version of us, but to the person we were before the noise, before we traded authenticity for acceptance. Coming home means remembering that you were never meant to blend in. You are meant to illuminate. The world doesn't need another copy. It needs your fingerprint. It needs the spark that only you can bring. Every time you speak the truth, not the crowd's truth, not the trending truth, but your truth, you make the world a little more awake, a little more alive. So this week, don't scroll to belong. Pause to remember. Don't seek applause, seek meaning. And when the noise gets too loud, find that silence between the notes. That's where you'll find yourself again. Stay bold, stay kind, and keep engineering your own new vision. One not built on conformity, but on courage. So, what did you think of this episode or any of the episodes? I would love to find out. And here is where to get a hold of the show and let us know. These are in the show notes, but as always, here they are. As I announced last season, the new newvisionoldways.com website is up and running. Check out all the episodes, the Revelations blog and news page, a subscription link, as well as a link you can click on that will allow you to donate to the show and show your support. By donating what you can, it will allow me to book guests and cover costs. Anything will help. Of course, cancel at any time. You can also message the show from each episode on your various platforms. Just look for the send us a text message link. If that doesn't work for you, you can email us at newvisionoldways@gmail.com. You can find us on what was Twitter, now X, and that's at newvisionoldway. No S at the end of that one. At newvisionoldway. Check out the New Vision Old Ways YouTube channel. Just type in New Vision, one word. Oldways, one word, and please subscribe. It is free and will show support for the show. It really means a lot and will help grow the show on YouTube. Facebook's the same thing, New Vision, one word, Oldways, one word, podcast, and you should easily find us. And as a reminder, of course, these are still growing platforms for us and expanding all the time, so we need your help to get the flow going with the community. And last but not least, if you could do me a huge favor and subscribe to us, like us, follow us, leave a review on whatever platform you found us on. That would be so appreciated. That will also help secure guests that we will be booking in the future. So, Visioneers, welcome to what will be the best season yet, season number 5. I can't wait to get your input, and I also can't wait until we get together for the next episode of New Vision, Old Ways. Until then, stay true to yourself, stay informed, and stay empowered.
But the most important thing is,
This episode and all the episodes of New Vision Old Ways podcast have been written, engineered, and produced by Tony Marinaccio and TKM Productions.